on the presentation. Friends, this import-export valuation is the complete practical or a vocational program has been designed. And this program, what we are going to have today, a brief outline of this whole program, I'm going to take you through. This is divided into three parts. The first part is I will spend time on the basics of import-export valuation, various concepts related to import-export valuation, and the main screens where you will find how this import and export is taking place in India and the global perspective. Part 2 would be specifically on the valuation aspects, where the few tips and tricks I'm going to share with you. And the third part is how, as IOV RVF, we are going forward with this program, how the import course and how the export course has been designed. That I will take you through the syllabus. The different 16 subjects will be incorporated in this program. So a small journey to that syllabus, I'm going to spend time with you. Friends, many of you has questions, sir. I'm a land and building valuer. So to what extent this course is beneficial to me? I'm a plant and machinery valuer. To what extent this course is beneficial to me? Or I'm into financial assets valuation. How this course is beneficial to me? Let me tell you, before we start the actual delivery of the program, this is the only domain, friends, where irrespective of your domain expertise, whether you are civil engineer or architect or a mechanical engineer or a chartered accountant or a cost accountant, the knowledge of this course will help you not only in the domain of import-export valuation, but it will help you. There are 12 different types of services. In one of the slide I have mentioned, you will come to know that you can render your services across the globe. Let me tell you, across the globe. So whole world will be the market for you. And I'm practicing this for last more than 20 years in this domain, what I'm going to teach with you. So it is a self-experience of mine where I can justify and prove and substantiate that how this knowledge of this course will be beneficial for all of you. During the delivery of this 1.5 hours program, if you have any doubts and questions, definitely end of the program, we will give a time slot of 10 to 15 minutes where we can discuss one-to-one the questions raised, or if you have any doubts. If because of time constraint, if you are unable to reach to you or solve your questions, you can very well send an email. The email ID will be shared with you in the last slide. And anyway, you can send an email or communicate with us on phones, mobiles, or with IOV so that your doubts can be cleared. Here we go. It is import-export valuation. First, we'll spend time, the first part, the major part, on the basics of international business. And as the word tells you, international business comprises of two commercial activities called purchase and sale. When you purchase, it is called import. You purchase from overseas market, it is import. And when you sell in the international market, it is called export. So import and export is nothing but the purchase and sale. So when you do this activity of purchase and sale in the capacity of a valuer, you are basically not going to do actual import export, but you are going to render services of or as a valuer to the complete industries. So industry would be the main client of ours. Whether this industry is into the steel kind of imports, or the industry is into a kind of spices exports, or industry would be a plastic imports, or industry is doing, let's say, textile exports. So irrespective of domain or line of business, we as a valuer, we are going to render our services related to this import and export to various industries. So while rendering services, what are those services? I'm going to come to that point little later, but there are 12 different services one can think of rendering in the domain of import and export when you have a specific knowledge set. It is not something that I completed a land and building a valuation course conducted by IBBI, or I'm a registered valuer with respect to plant and machinery or financial assets. I can start rendering services. Answer is no. You have to have knowledge of various terms. To be specific, in the course we are going to incorporate or already incorporated 168 different terms you need to have a knowledge of. So you will say, sir, what do you mean by knowledge of the international trade terms? Let me take you to one of the terms which you see in front of you, international trade terms. So I have written HSS, MTT, LC, project import. So friends, these are the short forms of these terms. Few terms we will discuss today so that you will have a little understanding of what is the meaning of international terms and why knowledge of these terms are important. First is, let us start with HSS, written in red color font. The full form of this HSS is a kind of harmonized system of nomenclature. N is silent in that. I repeat, harmonized system of nomenclature. HSS is also called something like HSN code. Now, what is HSN? HSN is a kind of a numeric code. The length of this code is 8-digit code and given to the goods you intend to import or intend to export from country India. Imagine you want to import some goods from United States. The name of this good is, let's say, a diesel generator set. So to import this diesel generator set from America, how the transaction would take place? You will call to the overseas supplier. A supplier you finalize with the diesel generator set specifications, the quantity, and what is your delivery terms, etc. But when you decide, or when you go ahead with finalization of this generator set, along with the description of the goods, that is diesel generator set, there is a specific requirement that you have to define the harmonized system of nomenclature, that is the HS code, which is also called the EXIM code. And this code, the length, as I mentioned, is 8-digit in length. Internationally, anywhere in the world, internationally or worldwide, this code is same or called harmonize. Meaning of harmonize is same. Up to first 6-digit numeric digits, 6 digits are same. So generator set, the first 6-digit in US, first 6-digit in Canada, first 6-digit in Australia, first 6-digit in New Zealand, as well as in India are same. So all 193 countries, the first 6 digits remains same. So you will say, sir, what is so important? Why we need to have knowledge of this 8-digit code? The reason is the product is not known in the market, not only the description, but along with the description, the harmonized code, the harmonized system of nomenclature is the code. Even Government of India, when these goods arrives as a import, Government of India wants, or the customs wants you as an importer to file a document called bill of entry. And in that bill of entry document, you have to declare the HS code, that is 8-digit code. So government, that is a customs, will not allow you to clear the goods unless until you mention the right HS code. So giving or defining the code or allocating the code which is called the right HS code for the description of product is very, very important, because when you change the specification of the generator set from 100 kVA capacity to 120 kVA capacity, or from 120 to probably 200 kVA capacity, the HS code may vary, may change. The last 2 digits of HS code may vary. So point to note, or the knowledge of this course is essential, because the product changes, the code also changes. You want to import stainless steel products, but if the stainless steel product is, let's say, material of construction SS304, the code is different. If the material of construction is SS316, the code is different. So when you change the code, or when you change the product, the HS code also changes. And that is one of the mandatory requirement as far as customs is concerned. Another important aspect of this code is in India, or for that matter, worldwide, any country you look at, the duty, because when you import anything in India, you have to pay the import duty. When you take out the goods from India, you have to pay the export duty. Currently, export duty is zero. So as far as import duty is concerned, the duty is connected, or import duty is linked with the HS code. If you define the right HS code, the right duty you are going to pay to the customs. So you may be wondering that out of 100 disputes which are takes place at customs, 80% disputes are mainly related to the valuation, and valuation is connected with the right HS code. So if you have the right knowledge or perfect knowledge which you are going to get from undergoing this course, that if you have the right knowledge of defining the HS code, you are going to finalize the value of the product very perfectly. You may say, sir, custom is going to decide the import duty, importer is going to decide the product, let's say generator set. So what is the role of valuer? Friend, there is a big domain where valuer is going to render service here, because importer is known, or importer has knowledge about what he wants to import, say generator set or SS316L tubes or pipes, or maybe a kind of a breaker or hydraulic kind of machines. But he may not be aware, the importer is not aware what is the right HS code as far as country India is concerned. As I mentioned to you, the HS code is 8-digit in length, out of which first 6 digit are same worldwide. So the overseas supplier can guide the Indian importer up to first 6 digit, but last 2 digit, that is 7th digit and 8th digit, the last 2 digit, the Indian importer is not aware, and he needs advice from someone. So who is that someone? You will say, the customs. Custom will guide them, no? But answer is no. Custom is not there as an advisor for you. So Indian importer is looking today someone who should, guide them what should be the 7th code and 8th code or 8th digit of this HS code. And probably it is you who is going to have the knowledge of HS code decoding and HS code kind of terminology. If you have that kind of knowledge, your service starts with the Indian importer as well as exporter. So not only import perspective, this HS code is important, but export perspective also, this HS code is important, because for you it is export, and your buyer perspective, this is import. So write code or defining code perfectly on the commercial and the legal document is going to help you for deciding the right duty. And right duty is the one of the advantage, because you are avoiding the kind of show cause notices which custom may raise later on, saying that, sir, you have imported generator set last year, but you have given the wrong code, and because of the wrong code, the wrong duty you have paid, and because wrong duty you have paid, now you pay the duty which otherwise you would have paid on day one, plus interest at the rate of 15% per annum or 18% per annum, depending upon the rules. So you may land up in huge amount of losses if you not define the code perfectly. So trade or the importers and exporters, the industry is dependent on who will help me this defining code. And the obvious answer would be the valuers, the IOV registered valuers, because they will have the additional knowledge of this domain. Now, knowing this importance of this code, friends, like this, there are 168 different concepts are there. We'll see a couple of additional concepts. Now, once comes in front of you is called MTT, that is merchandise trade transaction, MTT. What is MTT? MTT, to tell you in short, is suppose you based in India, and you have come across with the requirement of a buyer who is a Japan-based buyer who needs a product, let's say a calculator, and you found that Germany is the place the supplier is manufacturing, or there is a manufacturer of calculator. So you engage yourself and you finalize the deal wherein the purchase will be from Germany and sale will be in Japan. Let me repeat. Purchases from Germany and sale is in Japan. Now, how you how you want the transaction to take place? The transaction to take place is the goods will start from Germany, it will end at Japan without coming to India. So this is something called merchandise trade transaction. So what you are going to gain in this is, there is logistic cost perspective. You are going to save a lot, because otherwise you will bring the goods from Germany to India, and from that is an import transaction, and from India to Japan again it is an export transaction. But both these transaction, both these purchase sales leg, you land up in additional logistic cost. Not only logistic cost, but the insurance premium you have to pay additionally. Instead, the best way is to take the goods from Germany and directly give it to Japan without bringing it to India. It is something called merchandise trade transaction. But having said that, the merchandise trade transaction, the usefulness of this transaction, there are a lot of compliances and there are a lot of procedures are required, and all these procedures are connected with FEMA perspective, that is Reserve Bank of India angle, customs perspective, so Customs Act 1962 perspective. So to comply these, you need to have a knowledge of this whole MTT transaction, what all the compliances, how you are going to carry out valuation of import of transaction and export of transaction, how to file the application to the authorized dealer, that is the bank, and how to get sanction from RBI, and how to help the industry to compliance for this MTT kind of transaction. So that knowledge is the additional set of knowledge you require for carrying out this kind of transaction. But if you have that set of knowledge, believe me, the industry will not leave you, and they want you to be empaneled like today how you empanel with the banks, and bank provides you the kind of and send you inquiries so that you get the orders and the contracts for carrying out the valuation. But here we are talking of not only valuation, but along with that valuation, or to do that valuation, import and export valuation, if and only if you have a knowledge of these terms, knowledge of these MTT transactions, then you have like this a letter of credit, which is something called the third term. A letter of credit is kind of terms of payment, like a typical transaction which takes place in India, where the seller and buyer comes together, and buyer says, okay, dear seller, you supply the goods to me, I will pay you $100,000 to you, or 100,000 rupee to you, because it's a domestic transaction. If it is international transaction where the seller and the buyer are not from the same country, they are in the different countries, the seller is in India or the buyer is in India and the other party is somewhere else, so there is a less chance that the seller buyer is going to meet in person. So there is a fear factor in both the minds, in seller as well as buyer. And that fear factor is, the buyer always feels that what is the guarantee that seller will supply the goods to me of the same quality what I'm looking for, and I will get the value for the money for the product. And seller always has a fear in their mind that what is the guarantee that buyer is going to pay me at right time as per the order. So both the parties, the seller and buyer, has a fear in their mind, and to reduce that fear or to make that fear zero, who comes in between is the bank. So bank is the intermediary who will solve this fear factor in the minds of seller and buyer by providing a product called letter of credit. So letter of credit is the kind of terms of payment, is one of the terms of payment called documentary credit perspective. So here the bank, which is intermediary, who assures the seller that, sir, rest assured, you go on supplying the goods to the buyer who is in another country. If buyer do not pay, I will pay you all the money which is connected with the transaction, subject to certain condition fulfillment, certain conditions to be fulfilled. What these conditions are? These conditions are set by the buyer. So buyer says to the seller, sir, provide me a proof that you have supplied the goods or you have loaded the goods on the ship. So that proof, the seller has to give it to the bank. Bank will verify whether that proof is there or not. And apart from this, any other conditions are not there, they will immediately pay the money which is allocated or which is available at the bank in the account of seller. So seller will safeguard his interest by taking the money directly from the bank. On the other side, the bank assures to the buyer, sir, rest assured, you will get the goods and we will pay the money on your behalf to the seller when and only when after the fulfillment of conditions by the seller. So please give me the list of conditions what you want to achieve in this transaction. So buyer will say, dear banker, please ensure that or don't pay the money to the seller, but get the proof from the seller whether he has loaded the goods on the ship, and name of the document called bill of lading. Take the bill of lading from the seller. Number two is get the proof that the quality of the good is as per my requirement by taking a report from the seller from a third party inspection agency. After the inspection agency says perfectly okay, the seller has made the goods of quality which buyer is looking for, and that inspection agency's report bank will read, and the outcome of that report says perfect quality as per required by the buyer, then only bank is going to pay the money to the seller. So this is how the fear factor in the minds of seller and buyer reduces. Friends, in our course, this is just a beginning of the terminology, but in course we are going to spend a lot on such kind of concepts. Like letter of credit, there is associated standard called UCPDC 600, that is Uniform Custom Practices and Documentary Credits. 600 is the standard. So how this standard operates, how the terms and conditions are available in LC, what is the name or what is the role of applicant and beneficiary, what are the types of letter of credits. So having this knowledge sets, dear valuers, please note, having this set of knowledge set with you, you can render your services to the import and export fraternity or community. So you having this knowledge and having a knowledge of valuation anyways with you, you will get automatic chance to serve or to render your services to the importers and the exporters of country India. And not only importer exporters of country India, but worldwide you can render your services. I'm having my office in Dubai rendering almost 159 clients internationally. So the LC is not a domestic concepts or any concepts here what we are talking about. They are not domestic, that is Indian concepts. They are international concepts. LC is international. MTT is international. Harmonized code for harmonized code, that is EXIM code, which is 8 digit. It is an international concept and under the WTO, World Trade Organization. Right? Then balance couple of terms we will see quickly. Something called project import. Now here look at the beauty of the transactions. A project import is a kind of scenario where Indian company, for example, wants to purchase not only 1, 2, 3, 4 items, but they want to import the complete. They have decided they go to Europe, for example. Take a dummy case. You go to Europe and you say that this factory we want to purchase outright. You decided the value. And that value, after deciding the value, you want to purchase this factory along with all equipments, all kind of, machines or kind of spares or whatever available in the factory in as it is a condition. So since the atoms involved in that factory, some atoms may be electrical in nature, some atoms may be mechanical, something will be in hydraulic, something could be a pneumatic kind of equipments. So having said that, because of the different nature of the goods, the import duty in India would be different. Say electrical items, 30% duties would be required. Electronic items, 25% rate of duty is applicable in India. The pneumatic items, say 26%. Hydraulic items, 28%. So each and every item will be different of specifications, different types, and import duty in India would be different. So if the number of atoms are, let's say, 20 lakh atoms are there, then filing bill of entry, giving detailed information about each and every item to Government of India, that is through customs. Custom will decide the propose the rate based on the valuation done by you, and then the whole material will be cleared by the customs. It may take 6 months or so because the number of items are 20 lakhs. Or what I want to say is huge number of items. So to solve this and to do this whole transaction just in half a day, you see, from 6 months, we are talking of half a day, is possible under the scheme or under the heading called project import if you have a proper knowledge. So project import guidelines is a kind of scenario wherein you can import practically anything from anywhere under the same or only under one HS code, whether your material is mechanical, electrical, hydraulic, pneumatic, or any other mixed combination of electro-pneumatic or electromechanical, the code will be same or single. So for that, you have to file an application, make the valuation process for these import transactions. And after your proposal goes to the customs, then custom will approve that and you will be awarded a single code to carry out the transactions under the heading called project import. What you are going to save? Your knowledge of this domain of import export and knowledge of valuation has helped you to propose a right application to the customs, and custom will clear the goods, and your saving would be your buyer or your customer, who is an Indian customer, will clear the goods in just half a day time. And now imagine when you do that, whatever the fees you ask for, there is no issue, there is no compromise, or there is no bargaining kind of. Believe me, that he is going to help you or going to reward you whatever the quote you ask for. Yeah. So project imports, rules of origin is a kind of new concepts where now you see country India has signed 56 different contracts, which is called regional trade agreements or preferential trade agreements. And these agreements are such, like recently India has signed a contract with Australia. It's called CEPA, CEPA. That this CEPA agreement or the agreement with Dubai, agreement with Singapore, agreement with Singapore or Sri Lanka, neighboring countries, having a most favored nation MFN status. So what is the contract, or how you are going to have usage of this knowledge of rules of origin goes like this. Imagine you want to import something from Singapore. Now when the goods arrives at India, the custom will stop the consignment. They will ask you, Mr. Nagarkar, you have imported these goods, so you have to pay the import duty. You will say, yes, we are ready to pay the import duty. And they will say, what is the valuation of these goods? You will share the valuation, and the goods will be goods we have to pay the import duty as per the prescribed rate, or the rate prescribed in the customs tariff. Now if you prove, sir, goods has originated from Singapore and we have a specific document called certificate of origin. Please note, certificate of origin duly signed by the Chamber of Commerce of suppliers country, that is Singapore country. And with that document, you will redo the valuation, and after redoing the valuation, you will submit that information to the customs through bill of entry along with proper set of documents attached. And name of this document is called certificate of origin. So certificate of origin is a part of the contract what India and Singapore has made. And that contract says that if someone from India, that is the importer, submit the certificate of origin issued by the seller's country called Singapore, then Indian customs will honor that certificate of origin, and as prescribed in that certificate of origin, the import duty would be reduced. It will be less import duty. How much benefit you can get? To the tune of 50% of value. So a particular good has an import duty at the rate of basic customs duty at the rate of 10% of value. And because you submit the certificate of origin, the Indian custom will charge only 5%. So 50% discount of 10% is 5%. So 5%. So how much you have saved? Import duty of 5%. Now 5% may be corresponding to $1 million also. Yeah. So it's a huge benefit. Friends, please note, huge benefit under rules of origin. Since India has signed a contract with the 56 countries, there is a potential practically that you import from any of these 56 countries, Indian importer is going to get benefit if he fulfills the conditions of the contract. So what is required? As a valuer, you should have knowledge of import export. You should know where I should read these contracts. So these contracts you will find if you log into the website called CBIC, or as well as the Ministry of Commerce website. Ministry of Commerce website. In the menu bar, you will say trade agreement in the menu bar. Just click on the trade agreement. You will see the contracts, the 56 PDF files made by the contracts made by India with those kind of countries. Just download those contracts and see which country you are importing from, and read that contract, which is not less than a 25 pages contract. Once you start reading one or two contracts, I'm going to teach you during the course how to read and how to extract the information from the contract and how to utilize that information in order to save money for your client, that is Indian importer. So guide the client using this knowledge, do the valuation, get the benefit from the customs, and when your client, that is Indian importer, gets the benefit, he will pay you based on the efforts, based on the time and efforts put by you. So there is a huge reward. I must tell you that huge rewards are there. Like this, then there are Incoterms. Inco stands for international commerce. So there are 11 different Incoterms are there. You might have heard, or some of you might have heard something called FOB value or CIF value, something like this. So these Incoterms are the delivery terms. So the international contracts, these terms play very much importance from the perspective that who is going to bear the cost and who is going to bear the risk in case of transaction to carry out import or export. Let's take an example. Suppose you have a buyer in Paris and you come together over a phone call or an email, and there is a agreement that Indian exporter will supply the goods to Paris-based customer. Everything is finalized, but you have not discussed and finalized that who will deliver. So Indian importer, Indian exporter, whether he will supply the goods at the warehouse of Paris-based customer, or Paris-based customer will come to India and he will collect the goods at Indian port, or he will come to Indian manufacturer place, let's say Pune or Mumbai or Delhi or some other place where the manufacturer is having the facility, and he will pick up the goods from his warehouse or the works. So because if it is absent that who is going to bear the cost up to which location and who is going to bear the risk. Suppose you as an exporter wants to deliver the goods up to the buyer's place, that is in Paris, the amount and the risk will be very high, isn't it? Instead, if he comes to India to pick up the goods from your Delhi factory, then risk and cost will be high for him. So either of the case, the risk will be very high for you or very high for the buyer. So what is that benchmark, or what is that point where the cost and risk responsibility you are going to transfer from your head to the buyer's head? That is decided by the Incoterms, that is international commerce terms, agreed, approved by World Trade Organization and World Customs. And this is one of the important part, friends, in drafting international contracts. So this drafting international contract is also one of the deliverable of yours. You will say, sir, come on, we are valuers, so you want us to do the job of lawyer? I'm not saying job of lawyer. I'm saying use the knowledge of import export, use the knowledge of your valuation, and make the draft, make the international contract. It's the simplest process, and that simplest process will help you to render the services by drafting the contracts, which is one of these, a purely a commercial contract where you have to use the knowledge of the terms which are available in international business. So these Incoterms is another area where you are going to help your importer or exporter, or for that matter a client, and so that his cost and his risk will be limited, because you are going to intervene, you are going to guide them that what is Incoterm and what is the role of Incoterm in deciding the value of the whole transaction. Right? Preferential trade and regional trade agreements already we talked about. And last one is PCFC, that is packing credit in foreign currency. Packing credit in foreign currency. So some valuers having background of financial assets, they will find it useful that in case of international business, you as exporter or your client as an exporter got the order from the overseas market. The order value is huge. The day he gets the order, he starts enjoying. It's a party day for him, right? But then arranging money for working capital kind of things, then when he goes to the bank, the rate of interest charged by the banks are very, very high. It could be 9% or 10% or 12% or 13%, depending upon type of bank. It could be a nationalized bank, could be private bank, could be cooperative bank. Yeah. But having these rate of interest Is there any facility where the exporter can get certain benefits to get the loans at the reduced rate of interest? Answer is yes. So you can get the loans from the bank in foreign currency itself. Because your order is in dollar term and you get the loan in dollars. So this is called a foreign currency loan. And why packing credit name? So packing credit is divided into two parts, that some money you require. It's a simple concept. Please pay attention. When you get the contract or when you get the order, you are going to make the finished goods, and that finished good you are going to sell. But manufacturing of finished good or selling of finished good, these two different activities are there. First is you have to manufacture the finished good. After manufacturing, you are going to load the goods, you are going to pack the goods and load on the ship, and the ship will take the goods from Mumbai to, let's say, Houston in United States. So before shipment, one activity is there, and after shipment, there is another activity. So we call that before shipment is called pre-shipment activity, and after shipment is called post-shipment. So pre-shipment and post-shipment are the two different scenarios, two different activities. And to carry out these two activities, you require funds. And these funds are provided to you by the banks, which are local banks, in rupee term as well as foreign currency term. But to get foreign currency loan will be cheaper because rate of interest here would not be more than 6 to 7%. 6 to 7% per annum is very less in comparison with rupee term loan, where rate of interest may be 9% to 13% or so. Further, under PCFC, you can have facility that you can get the external commercial borrowing. You get the loan from the international bank, let's say ABN AMRO in Netherlands, or maybe an American bank or a Euro Exim bank from London. What is the advantage of getting such loan called external commercial borrowing? The rate of interest would be in line with LIBOR rate, that is London Interbank Operating Rate. And currently, the LIBOR rate is not beyond 3% per annum, 3%. So you see the potential. You are going to help to your client, wherein you suggest and you make it happen that arranging loans under PCFC mechanism, where the rate of interest is 3%. So he's practically saving 5% or 8% or 9% rate of interest per annum and become more and more competitive. He becomes more competitive. That means there is a more probability that he is going to get the orders next time. If he gets more orders, more volume. So then it's a supply chain or supply and demand perspective, simple economics you work out. His business is going to grow because of you. And why? You will help him to grow because you have a set of knowledge you are going to earn from the program. So friends, international trade terms is the first part, where like these, there are 168 different terms are there in the course. And we are going to spend time on each and every term, giving you the practical exposure and vocational guidance, that how you can use these, how you can apply these terms in your day-to-day operations. Once you have the knowledge of this, you are going to apply this to your clients. We are not only going to teach you online, but we are going to issue the books to you. A lot of case studies we are going to give it to you, so that you become not only enriched in the knowledge, but the skill set will go up because you are going to practice those case studies. And that is how your knowledge in the domain of international trade improves. And that knowledge will help you to do the right valuation at the time of import as well as at the time of export. Next part is that associated information, where knowledge is also required along with the terms. You should have the knowledge of the foreign trade policy. Now, India is growing like anything. In today's newspaper, Times of India, if you look at the GDP is also growing now. We may reach to level 3 in whole world, probably end of 2035. 2035 range, our rank would be 3. Currently, US at almost $22 trillion economy. Then China is almost 17. And after that, Germany, Japan are there, and then India. After India, we have United Kingdom, which we have recently surpassed the GDP of United Kingdom. So India is growing and probably at the rate of 6.9% rise. That is what the RBI has declared yesterday, 5 o'clock. So growing with this kind of pace, the country's DGFT, the Director General Foreign Trade, which comes under Ministry of Commerce, are making the foreign trade policy and procedures for country India. And these policy are the Bible that how one should, carry out the transactions of import and export, what to import, what to export, then what are the incentives, benefits, rewards available at the time of import and export. You will say, sir, come on, are we here to learn the legal aspect of the trade policy? Answer is no. We are going to use the smartly, the knowledge which is available in the policy as a tool. Please note tools. So let me give an example. So policy says, dear exporter, Indian exporter, we come with a tool called advance authorization for you. Advance authorization as a tool. Where it is mentioned? It is mentioned in the foreign trade policy. So what is the advantage? The exporter will say how to use this tool. The usage of this tool goes like this. Dear exporter, are you importing any raw material? Answer is yes. So with knowledge of advance authorization, you can import this raw material from overseas market without payment of any import duty. Duty-free import. If you don't have knowledge, he has to pay 30% of duty, import duty. So his import cost will increase by 30% because he has to pay 30% import duty. But having knowledge of the tool or use of tool, advance authorization, in such a way that taking this advance authorization from DGFT, he go to the customs, say that, sir, I'm holding advance authorization in my hand. And because I'm holding advance authorization, I don't wish to pay the import duty at a time of import. Customs says, no problem. Show me your advance license. Or advance authorization is one and the same. So Indian exporter will show the advance license copy, physical copy to the customs, and custom will clear the goods without asking any import duty. How much the importer has saved? Importer has saved 30% straight away. Now what he will do? Importer will take these goods, which is duty-free goods. He will take it to his factory, convert these raw materials into finished goods, and finished goods he will export. That's all. So having a proper knowledge of foreign trade policy and procedures where tools are available, and using these tools he has saved, you see here in this case, 30% import duty. So 30% saving, in another words, he become more competitive by 30%. And if he becomes more competitive by 30%, obviously he is going to enjoy more contracts or international orders in comparison with the competition. So policy helps Indian exporter to become a competitive exporter. And to have that, they have published or they have announced many such tools in policy and procedures. Name of these tools is called advance authorization, then export promotion capital goods, then you have market access initiative, then you have something called market access initiative and market development assistance. Then you have something like benefit called MEIS, merchandise export incentive, ROTEP, refund of duties and taxes on export products. Then you have ACIS, something for service exporters, that software or services export from India script. Then you have export oriented units. Then you have special economic zone. So like these, there are various schemes, various tools in the hands of Indian importers and exporters. And using these tools properly at a time, 1 or 2 or 4 or many at a time is also possible. So having knowledge of these, I'm again and again telling, having knowledge of these all terms, what you are going to help your customers, that is importers and exporters, to make their value competitive. So your job would be to render services having set of knowledge of these international terms in the domain of import and export to your clients, which are local clients or international clients. You may ask, sir, this what you talk about is as far as Indian foreign trade policy is concerned. Are we going to get knowledge with respect to US, Germany, Japan, Italy, and other countries? Answer is no. But like this, there is the same policy available over there. International trade terms remain same internationally. So like preferential trade agreements and regional trade agreements in India is not Indian perspective, it is world perspective. So same concepts are there over there also, right? Only the case to case or country to country, the tools are different, the names are different, but logic remains same. In India, raw material to import without payment of duty for export purpose is free of cost. The same policy is there in China, the same policy is there in United States, same policy is there in Italy, and same policy is there in Ghana also. Only the name of that tool is different, but logic remains same. So here in our course, we are going to help your concepts clear and logic to be make it perfect to use, whether you are doing business within India or outside India. My suggestion is India is not only the domain, but the world is the domain, because we are experiencing this through my Dubai office, where we are catering 159 clients internationally. So along with the policy, now there is a procedures. So this policy and procedure, friends, goes hand in hand. You should have knowledge of the policy and you should have knowledge of the procedures, because procedures will help you how to carry out, to answer the questions like how to do it, what should be the content, where we should get the information, what forms needs to be submitted, which application needs to be submitted to which departments. So answers for all these questions, starting from 5W and 1H, that is who, why, where, when, what, and how. So answers for is this 5W and 1H is available in the procedures, and it's a government declared books available on internet site called www.dgft.nic.in. The books are available over there. You need not purchase those books. Is the country's foreign trade policy and procedures, which one of the topics in our course, which we will help you from valuation perspective, to what extent you should have knowledge about this contents or the course. Then you will have spent time on the knowledge with respect to trade documentation. There are almost 32 different documents are involved in the transactions of import and export, such as bill of entry, shipping bill, bill of lading, airway bill, bank realization certificate. Like this, there are many documents are there. So these documents, friends, are mainly with respect to compliance of various laws, rules, and regulations of the respective departments. Let me explain. In the gamut of import and export, there are various Indian government institutions such as Indian Customs, Indian GST, then DGFT, Reserve Bank of India, then banks, then shipping lines, then you have insurance companies, then you have ECGC, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation. So like this, there are many organizations, government organizations are there. Now each organization is connected with certain rules and regulation. Like DGFT is connected with law called Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act 1992. Custom is connected with Customs Act. GST is connected with GST Act. Reserve Bank of India is connected with FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act. All these acts we are going to teach you. Now you'll say, are we going to have the course called the legal course? Answer is no. The glimpse of this law, which is necessary for doing valuation, that we are going to share with you. So having that knowledge, then respective these laws and regulations for that department, the certain documents are there. So these documents we are going to share with you, like how to read these documents and how to prepare these documents. There are many assignments which are there in front of you now. That, sir, please help us. We got the export order. The order is for Ghana, and we don't know what documents needs to be prepared and how the valuation has to be made based on the documentation. So when you want to do the valuation, you need to understand what is the role of that documents, what information need to be extracted and captured from that documents, and how to use that information to do the valuation. So you should have the knowledge of these documents. So documents will help you in the course, like what is the name of the document, for what purpose the document has to be made, what contents to be extracted and captured from the documents. This all set of information we are going to share with you. Costing and finance is another topic where you need to have a knowledge of costing and finance related to import and export. You need not be ICWA like me, or you need not be a finance expert where you have a knowledge of chartered accountancy and kind of, but you need to have basic and necessary information about the costing and finance. We are going to teach you what is standard cost, what is marginal cost, what is break-even cost, how to use these costing methods so that you can make the computation perfect. Like most of you are aware who has undergone the course where the approach, valuation approach called cost, income, and kind of market approach, where knowledge of costing is very, very essential. When especially replacement cost new, when you want to find out, when you want to do the computation, along with the logic, knowledge of costing and finance will help you. Reading from balance sheet and profit loss account, which factors, which figures needs to capture, and how to, what is the meaning of other terms which are mentioned on the P&L and balance sheet, we are going to help you, because that will be one of the knowledge set at the time of doing valuation, especially cross-border transactions, when you are going to carry out transactions under related party cases. Friends, the SVB, Special Valuation Branch, is another branch in valuation where we are going to spend time. And that is the only branch where knowledge of valuation is at most important. Imagine a case that a company based in Japan wants to sell their products to a company based in India. And both these companies has relation with each other. One is the parent company, second is the subsidiary company. And because of relation, the customs and income tax, both this department has doubt in the transaction. Why doubt is there? Because there is a relation. And because of relation, the custom may feel that the price asked by the seller in Japan to be paid by the Indian buyer is under invoiced, or could be over invoiced. So there is a scenario of under invoicing and over invoicing may happen in case of relation, or because of the relation, or because of in case of related party. So we are going to train you the how to make the valuation in case of related party transactions, and both the perspectives, from the commercial perspective, that is from customs perspective, is called investigation report, or called special valuation branch order, SVB order. And from income tax perspective, we are going to take you or teach you the related party called TNMM kind of methods, the net profit margin kind of method, where it is called TP, a transfer pricing concepts comes into picture. So TP and SVB, these two sides of the coin, you are going to learn in case of related party transactions. Then comes a banking, which is one of the important arm of international business, where in case of import, you have to pay the money to the overseas supplier, right? In case of import, money has to be paid to the overseas supplier. And in case of export, you are going to receive the money from the overseas customer. But friends, this money is in foreign currency. It is in dollars, sometimes euro, sometimes pound, sometimes lira, sometimes yen. There are 103 different currencies are there in 193 countries in the world. We are going to take you to a money market kind of concepts. We are going to train you on forex perspective. What is a LIBOR perspective, the rates, and Euribor kind of rates. What is the concepts of the banks and RBI? What is FEMA involved in this whole course? What is Master Direction 16 and 17, which is connected to this import and export, and role of banker, which is called AD, while issuing the EBRC, that is electronic bank relation certificate. And when you get the money advance from the overseas customer, you get, the bank generates the EFIRC, that is foreign inward remittance certificate. So how to read these FIRCs, how to connect these FIRCs with respect to your transactions, we are going to help you or teach you. Along with this, the FEMA angle or RBI angle, that is a process called IDPMS and EDPMS, that is import data processing monitoring system and export data processing monitoring system. So what is the relevance of this IDPMS and EDPMS, and how it is important? And without doing this compliance, your customer get lot of show cause notices, and to address that, you should have the knowledge of this. So believe me, the industry is looking for a set of people who has a set of knowledge of this domain, and there are hardly any people available in this domain. So before someone takes this opportunity, I want valuers to look into, because you have already set of valuation knowledge. Having this additional knowledge and incorporate in doing valuation of import and export will open the new doors for you. And these doors, believe me, these are not the domestic doors, but you will get the international doors opens for you. Then valuation standards, already we know the IVS, so we will spend time on that. Market perspective, we will spend more time of that, what is this market all about, how to get the international markets, for this having this knowledge, how you will get the business internationally, and how the knowledge of international marketing and research will help you. Like DGCS is an institute, Director General Commercial Intelligence and Statistics. It's a Government of India institute based in Kolkata. It supports a lot of information to you. For example, if you want to do valuation of land, so we will take the sale instances nearby, right? So if you want to do import export valuation, a lot of sale instances are available with EDI, electronic data interchange, and that EDI is maintained by DGCS, the Director General Commercial Intelligence and Statistics. So how to extract that information? That they are making a statistical information available for years together. Any transaction you carry out in India, that is import or export, the data is maintained by DGCS, and that data is accessible free of cost. Free of cost. You need to know how to. That is the only thing. Yeah. So we'll teach you how to extract that information, use these sale instances, and make your report yourself ready for the valuation, so that your client is happy about that, because you are adding, not only making valuation report, but you are helping them and know how to, and using your set of knowledge, the valuation of benefit or value added benefit will be available to your client. So having said this, there are 12 services in front of you are available for you to look into this import-export perspective. We'll go quickly all the services. India and overseas, a duty computation perspective. There's a big demand. Importers in India or importers in any country wants to understand what would be the landed cost for me. Who will compute me the duty? Because just making calculation of duty, if you go to website called CBIC, that is Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Custom, there is a duty calculator is there. So is that tool, duty calculator, is free of cost. You should try once that, go to the duty calculator and just randomly, hypothetically put that you want to import a pump. So you will see lot of, more than hundreds of notifications are available. You select a notification number 1, the duty would be X. If you select notification number 2, the duty would be Y. If you select notification number 3, the duty would be Z. So like that, the different rates of duty would be there. So importer get confused. How to compute? Who will help me? Which notification to be selected perfectly? And that is how your knowledge comes into picture. You are going to help him and to compute this for him and make it available to the custom, so that custom will clear the goods very easily. Believe me, custom house agent, someone may be thinking, oh, we have our agent, custom house agent, they will do that. No, sorry, custom house agent job is to know the customs perspective only. There are other perspectives, like as I mentioned to you, bank, then DGFT, then GST, then international funding, the insurance, ECGC, shipping. These all factors matters most. So a proper valuer who works as a consultant for the industry, and he can render the service based on the knowledge which you are going to get through this course. Related party transaction, that is SVB, we already talked about. There is a big domain, big door is open for you to look into this related party transaction. So any international or multinational company operating in India, they have to carry out these activity, related party transaction. They should secure the order from Indian customs, SVB, and from income tax, TP, transfer pricing audit. So these two activities, TP is normally done by the chartered accountants. It will not come to you, but SVB, definitely it will come to you. Yeah. But if you are a financial asset valuer, having background of chartered accountant or CA, and having knowledge of SVB as well as TP, is anyway, it is taught in the CA syllabus. So you can render both the services, TP as well as SVB. Normally, CAs don't take up the assignments for the SVB normally, but TP definitely they take because that's a domain expertise. Merger acquisitions, again, valuation perspective comes into picture. Will teach you the international mergers and acquisition, a lot of case studies, how you are going to have the usage of this knowledge. Second-hand imports, second-hand goods import and export is another domain where there is a big rush of second-hand goods, and custom has always litigations with the importer. Sir, your value is not justified. You prove your value is perfect because the goods is second-hand, where plant and machinery valuers expertise will be helpful over here. And not only plant but land building also. A lot of civil related equipments are coming nowadays in India in view of the high demand of infrastructure. And second-hand goods, the useful life, the schedule 2 of Company Act, you need to look at the expected lifespan or economical lifespan needs to be calculated. The replacement cost new has to be understood, and computation with respect to the cost approach needs to carry out. So second-hand goods importers plus custom has their own rules and regulation. The DGFT has made the policy how to address the second-hand goods. The FEMA has also addressed what should be the perspective of second-hand goods and what should be the timelines for repayment or for the payment to the supplier. How long one can hold, what a time the credit line can be available so that they can get the maximum usage of that. So that second-hand good is another domain where you can render services. Auctions advisory, international auctions is also one domain where you can look into it. Goods rejection, that there is a chance that you export the goods or your client export the goods and goods gets rejected partly or fully. So to bring back that rejected goods back to India is a Herculean task. It's a very difficult task. And then no one is available to the Indian industry who can guide them and help them, work with them as a partner and clear the goods. Because when the rejected goods comes back to Indian customs says pay the import duty, and you fail to explain, sir, this is my own product, I have exported 3 months back but it has been rejected. So to prove that the one you have exported and the one it is in front of me is the same or not has to be checked, has to be proved. And there are ways, different ways to prove that. All ways we are going to teach you. There are notifications and circulars and public notices in connection with the rejections. We are going to make you trained on that. Factoring services like trade receivables discounting, like you export the goods and your buyer over there confirms that your quality is not as desired by us, so we deduct 5% or 10%. Or sometimes buyer says your goods are perfect but we are unable to pay you because we don't have money. There is a war-like situation in our country. So ECGC comes into picture, or factoring services comes into picture. You can set up your own business having knowledge of this import export and having knowledge of valuation. Own factoring services, there's a big demand for this. Chartered engineer services, yes, me is also a chartered engineer and registered with customs for last more than 12-13 years. So there is a big demand that custom is looking for the chartered engineers and valuers to be empaneled with the customs. Time to time they declare the through the advertisement the requirement of chartered engineers and valuers. They take the interview. You have to be very vigilant with respect to the advertisement released by the customs and enroll or apply and undergo the hearing. There's a small hearing or the personal interview where they will ask you about the one which we are going to incorporate in this course. Something about DGFT, something about the laws, something about the customs, something about the banks and stuff like that. Once you successfully complete this, yes, there is a more probability that you will be empaneled with the government, that is customs. And obviously there is a huge huge work is available from the customs, and not only customs, but then you will anyways get the enrollment or empanelment with the industry, so that the industry will also give you a lot of leads so that you can render your services. Transaction costing is another area where there is easy to do the marketing and get the international clients for the Indian industry, or for that matter worldwide industries. But to quote or to give the right quote for the overseas would-be buyer is many times a Herculean task. To prepare that quote, you need to have knowledge of all the transactions which are going to take place. Suppose you get the order from a country like Brazil. The you get the inquiry and you are going to now submit the quotation. How you will prepare the quote? You know the product to be manufactured in India and what will be the cost of that. But taking cost or knowing that manufacturing after product is packed in India, let's say in Mumbai, what will be the cost, the freight you are going to add so that you can deliver the products to the Brazil based customer? How you will add the insurance part? How you will add the custom house agents charges, loading unloading charges? Then what would be the met receipt charges? What would be the charges with respect to the factoring perspective? What would be the charges you are going to pay for issuing the bill of lading? What would be the master or house BL copy charges? What would be the charges with respect to sinking of this material probably at intermediate port in Dubai? So material will start from Mumbai, it will go to Dubai, and transshipment takes place from Dubai to Houston in America. So like these, there are many heads, and you need to understand, have knowledge about these heads, and know the concepts of valuation of that, so that you can make the transaction costing sheet proper. So in costing and finance, having knowledge of the concepts, you will land up in preparing the perfect transaction costing sheet. Believe me, I am myself a cost accountant, but throughout the costing or ICWS syllabus, this part is absent or was absent. So 3 scores you will help to, you will prepare, you can make that cost sheet. And this cost sheet, if when you give it to your client, Indian exporter or Indian importer, he will appreciate, because he will come to know all the total cost he may incur. Otherwise, there is a loss of profit from his, if you or if he forgets particular transaction or particular activity, so that the cost associated with that gets missed out and profit would be reduced. Like this, there are additional 3 called international business valuation, international service valuation, and business restructuring valuation. There are 3 areas where a lot of requirements are there in internationally, and Indian valuers are acceptable because they are equipped with having all the set of knowledge. Once you go through the course, along with the IVS course or IOV RVF courses or registered valuer courses, when you passed, you will get additional advantage over here. Incentives, already we talked about, there are a lot of incentives and benefits and rewards are available from foreign trade policy. So to have this incentive equipped with your existing process, it will help you to become a competitive seller or competitive buyer. Having set of right costing system like marginal costing, standard costing, and break-even costing, you will prepare or work out a competitive cost for your client, where you will spend time on cost, demand, and competition, and make a proper tripod, balanced tripod kind of systems with adopting right strategies. Pro forma invoice is just the heading to tell you that the contract needs to be done, and documentation is very, very important in international business, where primary documents, regulatory documents, legal documents, commercial documents, how to prepare that, what is the importance of these documents, what are the fields involved in these documents, will make you trained, and you will understand what these terminologies are. After that, proceeding further, you are ready for the samples because you are exporter, for example, and so how to send the samples free of cost, how to bring the samples free of cost. That is another area where duties are involved. So FEMA perspective, law perspective, what rules, regulations are there. So what procedures needs to follow, you will come to know in this whole course. Preparation of contract, already we talked about. Terms of payments like LC we talked about. Along with LC, there is document against acceptance, document against payment, and advance payment are the balance 3, along with letter of credit, that is the 4th terms of payment. So we'll spend time on terms of payments and terms of delivery, which are important aspects of any transaction, whether it's a domestic transaction or international transaction. So as far as terms of payment, 4 terms of payment, and as far as terms of delivery like FOB, CIF, X works, 11 terms are there. 2021, the 2021 11 terms, we'll spend time on that, where how cost and risk are associated with these terms of delivery in view of the regulatory requirements. LC we have already talked about. Preparation of physical exports, booking on ships. So maritime and shipping industry will, one of the subject is there in import and export, that how to book the ship slot on the ship, how to select the ships, types of ships, and what are the concepts in view of the logistics. What is 3PL and 4PL kind of logistics system? So PL stands for party logistics, third party and fourth party logistics. Nowadays with AI, that is artificial intelligence, 5PL logistics system is happening worldwide. So having knowledge of this, you can set up your own shipping processes independently. There is another domain, another area. Or you can help the existing shipping companies or the agents of shipping companies or existing importer exporters in view of booking the right slot for them, because you will have enough knowledge with respect to shipping processes, which you will get through this course. We will also spend time on various insurances policies, concepts of insurance, IRDA perspective. I am myself as insurance surveyor and loss assessor for many years. I'm in practice. So we'll tell you what is ICCA, ICCB, ICCC kind of policies, what needs to be added, how to reduce the premium perspective, how to compute the premium, and how to settle the claims fast. That you will come to know, especially in import and export perspectives. Benefit and executions is the one where you have to do it end of the successful imports and exports. Various other documents like what is how to do registrations for import export, bonds, various bonds like B1 bonds, security and safety bonds, security and surety bonds, physical movement of the goods, shipping and insurance, pre-shipment and post-shipment, both. Once you get the confirmation from the buyers and when the money gets credited, how to do IDPMS and EDPMS processes with the banks. Will spend time after the realization of the goods, and end of the day, that is the statutory compliance with various departments as far as import export is concerned, like customs, GST, RBI perspective, income tax, register of companies, export promotion councils, that is engineering export promotion councils, or FIO, Federation of Indian Export Organization, or pharmaceuticals perspective. So irrespective of any buyer or any client of yours who work in a particular domain, the solution for them is available in this course. So we complete the first part. Now in few minutes, we'll complete the balance two parts. Friends, this whole course is divided into two parts, which we are going to start end of this month. Probably the dates will be announced by IOV little later. Be in touch with IOV for the dates and enroll yourself. But we are making this program, the course, what we talked about are given the kind of overview, is divided into two parts: import related course and export related course. Both are separate course. Each course is of duration 3 months. So 3 months for import, 3 months for export. So total is 6 months. Program will be conducted on Saturdays. So 80% programs will be online. So whether you are from anywhere in the India location, you can undergo the program online. And last few sessions will be offline. So we will declare the locations, which is a central location, and then the program will be offline program where practicals and case studies will be conducted, and doubt solving kind of things will take place. And after that, examination will be conducted by IOV. This is a separate asset class. So as far as valuations are concerned, the concepts in customs are similar to IVS. However, there are specific things needs to be looked into. Like there is a duty charging related to import and export based on specific duty, or ad valorem duty, that is based on value the duty gets charged. And there are sections, specifically section 14 of Customs Act, where different concepts of price, like what is cost price, what is sales price, what is list price, what is trader price, these concepts gets explained to you, so that when you look at the documents, these various value or pricing comes on the document. So you need to derive the right information from that and guide your client to use the right words. Otherwise, the different valuation can take place. Like discounts, various types of discounts, trade discounts or quantity discounts or prompt payment, LC discount and special discount. So just mentioning only discount is not sufficient. What kind of discount you need to specifically mention? This is how your expert advice comes into picture. You give this advice to the client so that he can put the right term on the document, and valuation would be taken to the different dimension. Because in import valuation, there is a specific rule 2007, and export also rule 2007. There are 13 rules in under import valuation as well as export valuation on top of IVS. So these 13 valuations rules, we will explain you what is deductive value, what is computed value, what is a value with added cost and services. Like sometimes the patents gets added, or trade perspective know-how is fees to be charged for the know-how purposes, or royalty is added, where 3 CEB kind of documents released by the chartered accountants, where the payment outward goes along with the royalty. So those concepts comes into picture under the different rules. So we will guide you the various concepts of various different value concepts, which is mentioned is a part of FEMA, as well as from customs. A dealer price, invoice price are the additional terms. And then through documentation also, how the documents and how values are connected or valuation is connected. So these terms used in the commercial parlance. So from invoice, sometimes valuation is computed. From packing list, where dimensions in weight and volumes can be given. Certificate of origin is also set of document we talked about, where preferential trade agreements, the discounts happens based on the certificate of origin. Bill of lading in case of sea movement, airway bill in case of air movement. Also a speaking document for doing valuation. LC, quotation, delivery orders, met receipts are also documents used for the valuation purpose. So each document, friends, are used for valuation purpose. How to use that, how to use the declaration smartly, so that you can help the clients as well as not reducing the exchequer's interest, compiling or compliance of the laws of rules of the land you are going to follow, so that the valuation process will be a win-win situation. As you already know, there are 3 approaches, like cost approach. Mainly in case of customs, the replacement cost new you're going to compute in case of cost approach. And this computation subtracting certain adjustment based on obsolescence, based on technical or functional or kind of economical obsolescence, you will find out the valuation of assets in case of second-hand goods. Market approach and income approach are also there. The formulas are there in front of you. So in conclusion, this whole process of import and export were concepts along with the knowledge of the laws are very essential in order to make the right valuation for your clients. So not only banks, but you are going to help your industry, not only domestic industry but international industry. You become an asset for them, so that having proper set of knowledge, you can guide them and enroll yourself with them, or empanel yourself as if with the industry, which will give or generate or open a new windows for you. The third part is the course. As I mentioned to you, we have made 2 separate courses. There are 2 levels, level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is related to import course, exclusive import course, which are having 8 subjects. Level 2 is for export course, again having 8 subjects. So first level, that is import course, the 8 subjects are there in front of you, covered in 2 semesters, semester 1, semester 2. The total timeline would be 3 months, and each subject will have 50 marks. So semester 1 will have 200 marks, semester 2 will have 300 marks. So total 500 marks. And lectures per week would be 1, and there will be total 16 plus 16, 32 lectures. So normally this course will be completed, import course, in 3 months duration. And same like import course, the export course will also be divided into 16 plus 16 lectures for marks 200 plus 300 in 2 semesters. That is semester 1 and semester 2. 8 subjects will be there. So all these 2 courses, when you complete, then you will get a certificate from the IOV for successful asset class for import and exports, available for 3 asset valuers, that is plant and machinery, land and building, as well as the financial asset valuations. Sir, friends, thank you so much for your patient hearing. We are approaching almost 12